So now we are going to talk about mindset, the two types of mindsets that there are, and how you can adapt yours to increase your resilience. So the definition of mindset, textbook definition, is your perception of your basic abilities and qualities. This pertains to anything, like your intelligence, your parenting styles, your school skills, your relationships, your creativity, everything. Carol Dweck says that the view that you adopt for yourself or your mindset really profoundly affects how you show up in the world every day and how you live your life. So there are two types. We're going to start with fixed. Someone who has a fixed mindset means, or they're thinking that their qualities are set in stone. Either they're naturally talented at that one thing or they're not at all, so they might as well not even try to learn that skill or that thing. If they have to put in effort, that means that they have a lack of ability, and again, they just shouldn't even try in the first place. As far as goals go, they view goals as in terms of that outcome, so they're only focused on the outcome and achieving that goal or winning at that thing versus the process to get there. They also have a helpless response to challenges, which means that they're less likely to want to learn new information because they have to put in that effort. So that hinders their progress to achieve that task. They're likely to disengage and get frustrated very easily, and then they give up. Someone with a growth mindset views that their qualities are malleable and adaptable. They believe that people are born with different talents, but they can be developed over time, and that if they have to put an effort into something, that's actually a good thing because they're more engaged with with the activity and they're able to focus on that experience more. So the effort means that they're developing a mastery response, which means they're paying attention to learning that new information and acquiring those new skills. Very importantly, people who have a growth mindset are not afraid to try new things and to fail because they understand that learning and growing and failing is all part of being human. You might be able to guess that those who have a growth mindset are more likely to foster more positive emotion and resilience. But there is one thing that I want to mention before we move on, in that a person doesn't have just one fixed or growth mindset over everything in their life. You're able to have different mindsets depending on the aspect of your life or that circumstance. For example, I used to have a fixed mindset over my abilities in math and science. I used to think, oh, I'm not a numbers person, so might as well not even try. But I've always had a growth mindset over my social skills and my relationships. So that's just one example. That's just so you know not to put yourself in a box, but maybe just to identify areas in your life where you have that fixed mindset where you might be able to transfer to a growth mindset, maybe by doing something like this. So I want you to take some time and think of a fixed belief that you have about yourself, and then think about the action that you take as a result of that belief. And then as a result of that action, what happens? So to use my math example, I had a fixed belief that I'm not good at math. So when I had to do math in school, I would completely disengage and probably ask a friend for the answers and not learn the skills myself. As a result, when it came to test, wasn't that hot because I never learned the information for myself. So I want you to pick an example of a fixed belief that you have and then transfer it to a growth belief. So to take my math example, I'm not that great at math, but that is something that I can learn and develop with time. So, and that growth action might look like me asking my teacher for help after class. And as a result, I'm likely to be more engaged in class, maybe do better on my exams, and maybe even learn that I'm not that bad at math and I might like it at the end of the day. So just food for thought, something to try. And here is another De-Stress Monday tip. Just reminding you that a new perspective on things never hurt. To sum up, in this module, we talked about how emotions are a process that you have control over. Positive emotion is really good for us in a variety of ways. We can use our positive emotions to increase our resilience with the broaden and build theory, and also with that resilience, kind of use that momentum as an upward spiral to adopt a growth mindset over various aspects of our life.